Hey guys, Paggigalo here with another review, this time on Tyranny. But before I start, I want to just talk for a second about the fact that I've been a little inactive on my channel. And the main reason for this is I've just been busy with real life stuff, and plus it's the hot gaming season right now with a lot of games coming out. But Tyranny came out first. It was like, for me almost, it was like the beginning of the gaming season. And I've had this review in the works for a while, and I just kind of wanted to get it done with so that I could upload it and then move on to something else. So, anyway, let's get started on this review. So, Tyranny, it's a game made by Obsidian and Paradox. If you don't know who those are, Obsidian is a company known for making really well story-based games. They did the story in Fallout New Vegas, which is my favorite Fallout game, believe it or not. Of the new ones, of like 3, New Vegas and 4 and stuff, not of the old ones. And Paradox is known for making Europa Universalis and, other like Mountain Blade games and like other like heavy role-playing games and stuff like that. And so they made this game, and basically what it is a game about this fictional universe where it's being taken over by this evil warlord, and this evil warlord has taken over the whole world except for this one place, and this last place is where we, as the player, start playing. And it's an interesting, the story is very interesting. It's easily the best part of the game, and I'll get into why it's the best part of the game in a minute. But the way we start the game is we're playing as this character that has been chosen by this overlord that is taking over the place that we live, and he's basically saying he chose us to be a like arbiter of the law and help take over the land. And so at the beginning of the game, when you choose your character, you choose their background and stuff and how you got chosen to Kairos' will, which is the name of the overlord, Kairos. After you get chosen to be part of Kairos' army, the beginning of the game has a really cool kind of conquest system, I want to call it. I forget what it's actually called in the game, but it's a conquest system where you basically take control of your character through the time before when the game is actually taking place, because the game takes place a little after the area that you're in has been taken over. And so at the beginning, you play through this kind of, well, not really play through, but you get choices to do, like how will I take over the city and how will I do this and that. So it's cool in that aspect. And in that time, you get to learn about the land, and you get to choose who you want to side with, like which faction. I should mention before I continue on, there are 2 major army factions, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus. And so this game this game heavily revolves around those 2 armies of Kairos, and I'll get into that more in a second. But like I said, you get to choose which one you want to side with more, if you want to go middleman, if you want to be more part of the Scarlet Chorus, whatever, in this beginning part. And it really sets up the story, and if you really pay attention to it, it really helps build this world that is very interesting, and it's actually one of the most intriguing ways to introduce you to a world that I've ever seen. And it actually has made me excited for more future games they have, or DLC for this game, because just from this beginning part alone, because it's so interesting and really sets up how the world is going to be built. But anyway, after the beginning part, you get thrown into the world. And what happens basically is there's a revolution by some rebel forces that want to fight against Kairos' will, and you have to stop them, essentially. And so that's how the game starts. I'm not going to spoil anything really past that until I talk about the ending, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. But yeah, that's how the game starts. So you're part of you're one of Kairos', what is it called, law keepers or something. And you're under one of his second in commands, I guess you could say, which are called the Archons. The Archons are these guys that there's a few of them, and each one has like a special skill set, and you're under the Archon called Tunon. Tunon the Adjudicator, who is basically the judge of the land and determines all the rules. Well, not determines the rules, but follows all of Kairos' rules and punishes the people who don't follow the rules. And you're basically a person who's hired under him or like working under him. And so the game starts you out there, and you just kind of go with it, and it's a really interesting way to set it up, like I said, and I actually really love it. If more games could do it, more RPGs could set this game starting like that, and it would be pretty amazing. I should also mention that, like I said, they build the world really strong, and in building this world really strong, they want to make sure that you know everything that you possibly can without having to like alt-tab out of the game and go to the Wikipedia article about, each city and stuff. So in the game, they actually have this really cool system where they have, they have their tooltips that you can select, where they have like highlighted words, and you can click on it and be like, oh look, here's the description of Tunon, for instance, or Kairos. And so you can learn about each of the characters, each of the places, etc. by clicking on these things. And I've seen it in a few games before, and I really think it's an interesting concept in RPGs, story-heavy RPGs where you have to read a lot to do this, and I think it's a good idea. So now let me roll the story along a little bit, and I'm going to get starting to talking about the NPCs and the party members and stuff. The NPCs and the party members, there's quite a lot of choice. They have a lot of different backgrounds. There's like a beast, one of them is, and there's one that's actually a Archon. You get an Archon in your party, and you have, people from both the different armies, and just like other random people. It's very interesting. They have a lot of different backstory, and almost all of the NPCs, or not NPC, almost all the party characters are really interesting, and they have like decent backstories at least. So yeah, I'm very appreciative that they made actually living, breathing characters, and that's just the party members. The NPCs also are very interesting as well. I mentioned earlier the two different armies, the Scarlet Chorus and the Disfavored, and they're both led by two different Archons, the Disfavored being led by Graven Ash, and the Scarlet Chorus being led by the Voices of Nerat. And these are both extremely interesting characters, and these are two of the main characters of the game that you get to learn and love, and they are so interesting, and these two really make the world feel alive. They're amazing how Obsidian has done this. Obsidian's always been good with story, in my opinion, but this game really takes the story to a next level, at least at the beginning. I'll get to the end of the game later, at the end of this review, and talk about why this game kind of falls short. But moving on, let's get into the gameplay aspect of the game. If you've ever played Baldur's Gate from back in the day, the old Baldur's Gate games, the gameplay is going to be very easy for you, because it's almost a little bit simplified version of that. It's pretty simple, but if you're not a fan of the genre, you might be a little bit confused at first. You might be a little overwhelmed, and it can feel clunky, but you get used to it pretty easy. And it's a lot like Baldur's Gate, where you have like formations. Like I said, it reminds me very much of Baldur's Gate, where you have the different formations that you guys can walk in, and you have like these items in the background that you can click on, and traps and stuff. It's very Baldur's Gate-esque if you've ever played one of those games. The combat is very interesting. It's a pause and think out your fight system, similar to the Dragon Age games, where you like just click space and pause, and then you can be like, all right, which ability should I use on this enemy, and yada yada yada. And like I said earlier, there's lots of different party members to choose from, allies, and so you have a lot of different party compositions you can go with. You can go with an all melee party if you're stupid, or you could go with like a tank and then a rogue and a mage, which is what I pretty much went with the whole time. I pretty much used the same 3 party members the whole time, because I'm like a normal, just human being who doesn't like to change things up. But anyways, like I said, the combat system really just a normal combat system. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's decent enough to get you through this game that has the amazing story, which is the reason to keep playing, honestly. I should mention the questing in the game doesn't have any like arrow pointing like in Skyrim or Fallout, where you get a quest and then the arrow leads you basically directly to where it is. The questing doesn't have that, but because as you're playing you learn about the world, it doesn't need to have that. They've done it in such a way that if you're paying attention to the world, you can understand it really easily. And so I really like it. It actually complements part of the game, because it will be like, oh, for this quest you have to go to, whatever place, and then you had to like look up in your journal like, where is whatever place again, or on the map, where is whatever place, and be like, how to get there, what kind of factions live there, and etc., etc. And it's a very interesting system, and I'm kind of glad that it didn't do like the arrows, like, oh, you have to go here to do this, and etc., etc. The music in the game it's not really, nothing really stuck out, but it also, that's not a bad thing technically, because nothing stuck out so much that it took me out of the game, but nothing was also terrible enough that it also took me out of the game. It was very just, lulling in the background and added to the gameplay. It honestly complemented it, and so that's a great thing to have your music do. If you can balance it that well, then it's good enough. The voice work. Most major NPCs are fully voiced. Let me correct myself. Most of the major NPCs aren't fully voiced, but do have a decent amount of voiced lines, meaning like the important stuff they say will be voiced and stuff. And the voices for this game are really good. Can't complain about them in any way, shape, or form, so I'm just going to continue on from that. I should say, though, the party members that you get, when you're in the combat with them, if you have similar party members throughout the whole game, you're going to hear the same thing over and over again. Because it's an RPG and it goes on for hours, and they don't really do a lot more lines than like 3, so you'll hear the same like 3 lines from each of the characters when they like hit something or something. And the I should also, since I'm already talking about combat, the in combat battling sounds pretty decent, fairly decent, not gonna lie. It's hard to screw up sound, but people have done it before, so I just felt like mentioning sound for a little bit. But anyway, now that I've done most of the talking about most of the game, I want to get into the ending. Now, this is going to be a little bit of spoilers, so if you do not want to be spoiled for the game, like I said, it has an amazing story, so if you've watched this review for some reason and you got to the end and you don't want it to be spoiled, the ending, well, stop now if you don't want to be spoiled. So the ending, unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, the story is fantastic up to this point. There's no complaints, and then the ending comes and it kind of falls apart. And the reason why is because I personally think the game was rushed out. It ends at the end of Act 3. Well, you go through Act 1 and Act 2, and very interesting stories. Then you get to Act 3, and Act 3 is basically like, go around and either kill all the other Archons or make them bend to your will. And then Act 3 ends with the Overlords coming to kill you now, be prepared. That's it. You basically don't have any other options than either kill or make all the Archons submit to you, and then at the end, you're gonna fight Kairos, which is the Overlord. You're gonna fight him. It's not, you don't even fight him, it just says you're going to fight him. He's coming for you, basically. Which, I have a few problems with this. First off, it ends at Act 3, even though there are rumors of there being an Act 4 and even an Act 5. People are saying, like, there's stuff in the art book that says otherwise, like there should be more acts, etc., etc. And, it's just, it honestly feels rushed out of the gate. And it's just, you go through this whole game expecting some great things to happen, and then it's just kill or submit, and then you can't even make a choice at the end if you want to be, if you want to continue being part of Kairos's, like, army, or if you want to fight him, it's just like you're going to fight him, but we're not even going to show you the fight because we want to make money off of this, hopefully in the future with either a DLC or a second game, which really disappointed me because going through this game, I was like, this is a new franchise. I'm excited for when the follow-up games to this or the DLC comes out so I can play it because it looks really interesting. And then they basically set it up so like, well, obviously we want to make a second one, haha. And now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I don't want to buy it because clearly you shoved us out of the gate without finishing it, it seems, to me at least. And it just feels bad. But, and it's just, I mean, it ends before what I would have perceived as the greatest part of the story, which is fighting the Overlord. I mean, even though you couldn't choose, I still would have enjoyed getting to fight him so that I could be like, hey, wait a second. At least I got a coherent ending from this, and it wasn't just, oh, you've made all the Archons, you know, swear to you, or you've killed them, and now you're going to fight with him sometime in the future. Who knows? The end. That just, it's a cliffhanger ending that I don't want. You know, I just don't want to experience that at the moment. Especially, you know, going some odd hours through this game, spending all your time, and then it's just like, lol, see you later. See you next time. I should mention the game isn't that long, so that like you feel like you wasted your time and you get to the ending. It's only, for me, it was only about 20 hours, between like 15 and 20 hours, I think. And it was an interesting game, and obviously this game was made in a way so that you could do multiple playthroughs of it to get like different story elements, different characters, you know, side with different people. Obviously that's what the game was made for, and it's not long enough that you have to play, you know, 60 hours every time you want to go a different story route. So honestly, I think that's interesting, and I feel like there's not really a lot of RPGs that do that are short enough that you can, you know, swap between both of them. They're like, oh, this is only like a 20-hour story at most, so I'll just goof around until I can, or not goof around until I can goof around with the different story things and not feel like I've wasted my time, you know, 120 hours each time. So yeah, and honestly, so that's the only good point I really feel about the shortness of the game. Other than that, I really feel like the game should have been another 10 hours longer. I mean, it's an RPG, come on, let's be honest. And I could have squeezed 10 more hours out of it if I went and did like every single side quest and all this stuff, but I honestly didn't feel like it. But that's basically it. That's all I have to say on the game, and honestly, it's a really enjoyable game. It's definitely one of my top games of this year, and I honestly can't complain, and I can't believe this has reached 18 minutes of me just talking bullshit about this game. And so yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching, and now I'm going to go into the after video and explain some things. First off, you may have noticed this review is a little bit different from previous reviews I have done. The other reviews for Fury and for Recore, both of those I kind of did a script thing, and I basically read off the script after I'd written it. For this one, I'm just shooting the shit, as they say, and I basically wrote a rough draft, wrote down the things I wanted to say, and basically said, go buck wild. So, I mean, that's basically it. This video would probably be a lot shorter if I actually wrote a script and didn't mumble and, you know, bullshit my way through all this. So I don't know if this is a better way to do reviews or if the other way is. I'm probably going to try this again. I feel a little bit more comfortable doing it this way, because this way I don't have to write out a whole script, which I'm not a big fan of writing, and I can just talk about what I want to talk about, even if it is rambling. But the game is good. Why am I going back to talking about the game? This is the after. What the hell? See, this is what I'm talking about, where I sometimes ramble to do things that I don't want to do, but, you know, you just gotta roll with the punches. So that's that. That's the new review style I'm doing for right now. I'll probably do my next review in it. I don't know if I'll do the next one after it. I should also mention, like I said, this is the gaming season. There are other games that come out. Dishonored 2 I've been playing as well, which I believe I mentioned in my videos earlier. And Dishonored 2, it's been a lot of fun, but I've barely played any of it because I've just been busy. There's also Final Fantasy 15, which me and a lot of other people have been waiting a while. I've completed that game, actually, at this point. Like, I've beaten it. Not completed it 100%, but I've beaten it, gotten to the end. And so I'm thinking about doing a review on that. Maybe, maybe not. Then there's also... The Last Guardian. How could I forget? Another game that people have been waiting a long time on, which I think I'm probably going to do a review on. Don't hold me on my word for that, because I might not, but it's an interesting game, and, you know, it's been years people have been waiting for it, and if I want to talk about it, I will. As for non-review stuff, I don't know when I'm going to go back to doing Let's Play stuff, because I've just been, like I said, busy, and Let's Plays take a lot of time. They don't take a lot of time in editing, but they take a lot of time when you're recording, and they make you talk a lot, and, you know, I don't like to talk so much in a certain day, you know. What other stuff? Indie box stuff. I did 1 month, I did the Stanley Parable, and then I missed Rive and Jotun, and there's a reason why I missed Rive. There's no reason why I missed Jotun. I was just lazy that month. And now the new game came out, Halcyon 9 or 6 or something like that. And I'm planning to do that one soon. Yet again, don't hold me on my word for that, because I've been busy lately, sorry. Other than that, I want to do something for Christmas, and I also want to do something for the end of the year, kind of just like my favorite games of the year. I'll definitely do the favorite games of the year, because that's honestly a pretty easy thing to do. It's not that hard. I might also do like my least favorite games of the year as well in like the same video or something. But yeah, it's not a difficult video to make, so I'll almost for sure gonna do that. The Christmas one, I have some things that I have to set up, and if they go well, then I will do the Christmas one. But if they don't go well, then you probably won't see anything from me for Christmas. Maybe just like a normal video of a Let's Play or something. But yeah, that's basically it for me. Let's Plays a Deadly Premonition is what I got going on. What else do I got? Mega Man. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to continue them. Like I said, right now I've been basically very busy lately. So, they'll come when they'll come. You'll just have to wait. But thank you so much for watching, for sticking through to this end credit stuff, and just listening to what I'm talking about on my channel. I mean, I do this... I feel like I do this with every video I make now, where I talk about my plan, because it takes so long to make videos because I'm lazy. But it's whatever. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And goodbye. That goodbye sounded really weird. Hold on. And goodbye. Thank you for watching.